So what we're going to do is once we get a bit of space, which we're coming into an open area now, we're going to reposition so we can actually have a view. Come on for.
So it appears like we've just slipped one notch further up the tube, so now we're in second place.
So
we might even start being able to get some views.
We've got to choose a leopard now.
Stick with the female.
Is that the female on the left? Can't see yet.
It's all on the right.
Yeah. Right, there's another female apparently right behind us, literally coming up behind us. So I'm just going to have a check.
So initially we saw the female, she walked off into the bush, and now this is the big male Mvula.
Who is this? I'm going to hesitate this, just from a body shape it looks like Karula.
It does look like Karula.
It looks like Karula coming up behind us, following this mating pair.
This is incredible, Brent.
That's amazing. This is very exciting.
Could you point at? Who do you want me to point at?
Just Karula's going to walk right next to us on the left, so get ready there. I'm pretty sure it's Karula just from the brief view I had.
And now she's just changed direction, and she's going to be popping out on Brent's side of the vehicle now.
Oh, that's Karula. She's full. So she followed the female scent. She left Mvula and she followed where the female went. And she's watching very carefully. The legs coming.
Mind your head, please.
The third female is Karula.
Does that lower belly not look like she's pregnant to you?
It could be, but I saw her 3 days ago and it wasn't there. I don't know whether it's a food baby,
okay,
or an actual baby. So we're going to stick with her just on the edge, just to see what's happening. She's literally following the female scent rather than the male scent. So she knows Mvula, but I'm quite sure, like any good female leopard, she would very much like to know she's stalking a scrub hare. The Easter Bunny might be out of luck this weekend. This is the second time in 3 drives we've seen leopard try eat the Easter Bunny. But we're not going to shine the lights, obviously. This third Mvula is showing interest in a scrub hare.
So every now and then we'll just shine quickly just to have a look and see if the leopard has moved on or the scrub hare has run off. But basically the leopard is just in front of us on the road, as you would have seen, and she's crouched down now. She's seen a scrub hare. It's probably 30 meters in front of her, which is far too far away for her to catch it. She would need to be 5 to 10 meters away before she launched an attack. Now, the reason why we don't shine the light is that
so we don't want to disturb her hunting. So we're gonna go join the other 2 leopards. Obviously, with us driving around directly behind her, and with her general behavior so far, she's more than likely going to pop up again behind the other 2.
Well, this is what happens when you get 3 leopards in one sighting, there is naturally going to be a little
There's
bit
a lion on, apparently I'm just hearing there's a lion here as well.
Well, there we go. Now there's a lion in the mix. So, who knows what's going to happen next. I can see some of the leopard on our drinking, so it really is
Dan, can you confirm which dam?
crazy sighting that we're enjoying. And who knows what's going
You
to
can see
happen.
the lioness just popping her head over the edge, watching the leopard drink. Wow, this is the second time we've had lions and leopards in the same place. So let me just reposition slightly so we can see the lioness as well. Okay. So,
Head please, Brent.
sorry. Apparently there's also an elephant coming to drink at the dam from the other side of the dam as well now. Stations, while there's a lion and leopards in the same position, please can we keep all vehicles stationary? No, don't worry, Andrew. That was another vehicle. See, Roman, pop there. See, there's a lioness watching the leopards drink. So, while we're stationary, it's okay, because we're not making a noise and stopping the leopards being able to hear and whatnot if they happen to bump into her. But if we're moving, we would affect their hearing and stuff, and we might affect an outcome. So that's why I just said, while we have 2 apex predators in one place, we're just not going to move the vehicles.
Head please, Brent.
So, now we're in a bit of a predicament, folks. And myself and Brent both feel that it would be the wrong thing to follow these animals. So we are just going to sit here and wait and see what happens. The leopard are heading towards where that lioness was, which is obviously a very dangerous scenario for the leopards. We don't have control of what goes on here though with the other vehicles, so we'll just do what we think is right and possibly think of rejoining that sighting later. But how beautiful was that to see those two drinking, to be able to compare the size of a huge male
Andrew, coming
to that of a small female.
Andrew, do you have a view of that fuzzy guy? FM, but the Inga moving south towards the dam wall. How far is she from the dam wall? Is she moving, or is she moving at all?
You may have heard a loud rumbling sound. That was an elephant. So there's also elephant. Listen to that.
Okay, copy. Those Ingwe are mobile towards where Twin Dams goes over the dam wall. So we're just gonna stand by here for now. I think maybe it's best if you just stand by on the other side, just so we can see what happens.
Listen to how credible that is. And
oh, it looks like the leopard spotted the lion, and there they go. They've run off away from it. Okay. The leopards have run down to the drainage line. We're going to go try follow up. We're going to go try follow up on the leopards. They've run away now. If you want to have a just quick show behind us, Romeo. Elephants aren't the biggest fans of light at night, so I'm not going to keep the lights on them very, very long. Can you see them there, Romeo?
I can't get that far out.
Okay, sorry. And also now that there's other predators around, they could get a little bit uneasy. So as I was saying, charging. I can't see it. There's
keep going. It's all good.
We've got lions roaring on the road next to us. We've got elephants behind us. Absolute pandemonium. They're moving off.
I can assure you, every single one of us on this vehicle has a heart that is racing uncontrollably.
The elephants are going into the drainage line where we wanted to go into the drainage line.
I'm sure this leopard's gone up this tree.
I'll have a look now. But I'm just not going to move while we've got elephants just to the left of us. And lions. What's it? We can take a new song on the Steelers, a new take on the Steelers wheel song. Instead of clowns to the left of me and jokers to the right, we've got elephants to the left and lions to the right.
I think I heard the leopard jumping into
the tree.
And it would make sense because that's where they stopped their pursuit.
And they gave a good roar underneath the leopard just to let the leopard know who's the apex predator in the bush. Wow. This has been, there we go. I got the leopard in the tree. can't see whether it's a female or a male. I definitely saw Mvula disappear into the drainage line, so I think this is the female. And then we've got lion scent marking in front of us. We've got a leopard in the tree above us. Come on to the leopard, come down. There's two leopards in the tree actually. We've got both the leopards in the tree here. So we've got Mvula and Kwatile. Kwatile is moving down towards... So that look like the Styx lionesses. Everything happening here.
And interesting for everyone to see how far greater climbers leopard are than lion. The lion did not even attempt to climb up this tree, and it's a relatively easy tree to climb up. But the lions gave up and have now moved off because they know, and they would have chased many a leopard up a tree, and these leopards would have been chased by many a lion up a tree. So it's not uncommon for this to happen. It's more common than uncommon. What is uncommon is that occasionally the leopard will get caught out, and then there is no competition between the lion and the leopard.
So if the lions had pushed the leopards further, they would have climbed right to the thinner branches that would have been too heavy to sustain the weight of a lioness. So if you hear the clicking, it's Scott and my camera. So you've got it in machine gun to that. But they'll probably stay up the tree till they feel that the lions have moved off far enough. But how's that, guys? We had lion, leopard and elephant all in the same position. That's incredible. And she's moving. Interesting to see what she's up to. She might come down.
She's going to jump across to that vertical one.
Yeah, it looks like it. Jump. Yeah. There we go. Perfect. Oh. I'm quite sure Karula, who was following, would have heard those lions and decided discretion is the better part of valor and moved off. Well, I think all our heart rates are only coming down now. We had those elephants trumpeting behind us, we had the lions roaring next to us, we had leopards leaping in trees. There's a serious bit of action going on this evening. Oh, where's she going? She's climbing, jumping all over the tree. Strange enough, this is the exact same position at Twin Dams where we had the exact 2 lionesses and the exact 2 leopards last night.
That is uncanny how such bizarre sightings can be seen and witnessed in the same place within 24 hours.
And the likelihood of it happening in the same place is I mean, the odds are minimal.
What was great, I guess, that all of the viewers got to experience is that leopards are in fact well equipped
to evade.
And there was a lot of concern last night by a lot of the viewers, and that concern is obviously understandable. But these animals are very, very clever and have made it to this age for being wise and clever. And the ones that aren't good at evading lion and hyena are already not with us.
That is called, evolution. What Darwin's theory of evolution. He's got his head away from us. I'm just going to reverse slightly to see if we can see the female, and at the same time I want to have a little check down towards the dam and the water to see if the lionesses are still around, and maybe just have a scan around for Lady Karula. Oops. Okay, behind me, guys. Trying to get us to the spot where we can see her a bit better. We will come back to the leopards. I'm just going to reverse and see, just to check where the lions are, so we're aware of everything that's going on around us. I'd rather be better informed than not informed, and also just have a quick sweep behind us, see if Karula is still possibly trying to follow. I'm just going to head down to the water quickly. The lionesses are lying next to the water, probably about 70-80 meters. Have they seen something else?
Go back to the right.
To the
right.
Running around.
There's that bird. Oh no, it's Karula. Well spotted, Romeo. There's Karula drinking directly opposite the lions.
Oh, we're both there. Brent, the lions, or was one sneaking around?
No, I only see one lioness.
Let's just make sure one's not sneaking around.
Let's just move a little bit.
Brent, you copy FC?
I can't listen to FC at the moment. I'll speak to them now. I've got a lot of chatter on the other channel. So guys, the reason we're not shining and stuff, as we said, is we don't want to interfere. We can hear a bird alarming sort of in the middle of the dam.
No, I can see the other lioness that we had a brief glimpse of, and she's still a long way off, so there's nothing to worry about. Karula is safe from the one lioness. We are, however, concerned that the other lioness may have looped around, and that is often what lion will do. They will encompass their prey, and that they try and chase things into one another. Let's hope that doesn't happen this evening.
Copy, thanks. Just an update from FC, guys. VM has just had a gecko kill an insect.
Okay, so I'm sure Brent will fill us in what exactly is going on, but it does certainly make sense for us to make our way back to the sighting where we can enjoy the view of the leopards peacefully. It was a great idea of Brent's though to come and have a look what's going on, because now we know exactly what is happening. So
whoa, there's a hole. I should turn my lights on.
It helps. It helps.
Even when in low range.
So it's just best we make sure we don't interfere with anything. Because imagine if we sat there and we were shining the spotlights to see what happens, which obviously we're interested in. But imagine how bad we'd feel if, in fact.
Trying to think. We're very, very privileged to be able to watch stuff like this. Good evening, Di from Ohio. Di would like to know that if Karula heard the roaring of those lions earlier, why would she put herself in danger by still following? Well, from where we were, she could see the lion on the other side of the dam, so maybe she thought she wasn't in as much danger. And the fact is that another female leopard in one of the core areas of her territory would be a big problem for her. And quite often the females fighting can quite often be a lot more violent than the male fighting.
We would get them a little bit excited. There were a lot of small babies in that herd, and they naturally would be nervous with predators around, and they may have taken out that anxiety and nervousness on us, but it wasn't anything too serious. They didn't come close to the vehicle. They were probably about 25 meters away. But
there was a lot more noise and trumpeting than real threat.
Exactly, but they did let us know that they would like us to leave, so that's what we did.
Exactly. Don't want to overstay your welcome with an elephant. Oh. Change of position. Nope. Trying to find a comfy spot for his head on his paw. Good evening, Paul from Los Angeles. Paul would like to know the lion that was roaring. It was actually two lionesses that were roaring. It wasn't a male, so it wasn't the one we saw yesterday. So it was two lionesses roaring. I think they were just letting the leopards know that they're higher up the food chain. A question from Sandy, Scott. She would like to know, will Mvula protect Karula from the lions? I'm afraid, Sandy, he would get his own skin up a tree faster. He would not try to protect any female from a lion. Survival is key for these animals. It's more important than sort of protecting a female in the area.
I agree completely with Brent. They certainly will take their own safety and survival ahead of any other animals, and yes, he will have some kind of connection with Karula, but he knows full well that he would not really be able to aid in the event of a lion attack. He is considerably smaller than even one lioness. Now that there's two here in this situation, it would be no match for these two leopards. Two leopards, really. Although, having said that, some leopards have put up some very brave fights and occasionally got away from lion, but the odds are stacked heavily in their favour.
It looks like I just saw a flash of eyes. The lionesses are coming back towards us, or just standing probably about 50-60 meters from us. Barbara, good evening, Barbara. Welcome on Drive with us this evening. Barbara, Scott would like to know, I'm sorry, Scott, Barbara would like to know what African language we periodically speak.
That's a good question, Barbara. Interestingly enough, this afternoon when I returned from my unsuccessful walk looking for these leopards, when I got to the vehicle, Brent said, "Look,
Can I ask you to speak into that mic, please?
okay." cool.
Gee, Scott, I know you like me, but this is getting a bit close.
So I'm just having to swivel over a bit closer towards Brent, and the current mic, or the mic that was set up for me temporarily, is clearly not working, so apologies for that. Now, the question was, I've forgotten what the question was after all of this.
What African language do we periodically speak on gameplay?
I'm back. Okay, so when I got back from the walk this afternoon, Brent said Luto, which in Zulu and also Shangaan, the local language in this area, it means nothing. So I replied actually in a language from East Africa called Kiswahili.
Just to confuse it.
Just to confuse everybody. So I used a local Southern African language, Zulu. Initially that's what Brent said, and then I know that he knows Kiswahili, and I replied to him Hakuna Bahati, which means no luck in Kiswahili, which is a beautiful language and really interesting language because it's got some similar words, or actually exactly the same words for certain things from the Southern African Bantu languages. So an example of that is nyama means meat in most Southern African languages, and it means the same thing all the way up in East Africa.
And even into Central Africa.
So those are the two languages we were conversing in, and I hope that clears things up for you, Barbara.
Good evening, Laura. Laura's got a question. Would Mvula get between the two females fighting for him? Laura, in my experience, when I have seen multiple females with the male, he just carries on. He lets them fight it out themselves. And unless their fighting sort of affects him, then he might get involved. But generally, he would just let the females fight themselves. I don't know if you've seen anything different, Scott.
No, I've also, it's been the same with me. The male leopards probably do the wise thing and steer clear of getting involved in any trouble that they're not involved in directly. So it's a stance that I would probably also take if there was two ladies fighting over me. I think my heart's only started beating normally now. And Brent thinks he can hear something behind us, so he's just focusing on some rustling behind us as we speak.
Can't see anything just yet. What is that? Sorry, go again. Sorry, could you go with that question again?
should we go and have a look at what the lion are up to?
Good evening, Nigel. Nigel would like to know if Karula is still resting by the water, or she is moved back to the trees. Well, Nigel, with lions and Karula being opposite each other and we not being able to see the one lioness, we moved out of that area. We didn't want to put the lights on and affect anything that happened. What we can do now is that it doesn't look like these two are going anywhere. We're going to go have a quick look at what the lions are up to, and if we can see Karula on the western side of the bank.
So, welcome back, and let's go and see what happens with these lions. It's been quite a while now, so it will be interesting to see. I'm fairly certain the lion could see the leopard and the leopard could see the lion. With this full moonlight and their incredible nocturnal vision, they would have had no problem seeing one another. And it looks like the one lioness is still here.
I'm sure I saw two sets. There we go. And Karula was almost directly opposite where they are now. So it looks like they've eaten since last night. A bit more in their bellies. They were quite skinny when we saw them last night.
Well, we're thankfully wrong about the one lioness potentially stalking Karula, and she was just obscured by some small bushes. So Karula was safe and appears to have moved off safely. She could still be in the area. It would be interesting to see what she does, because I think she would possibly consider the lion as a bigger threat to her than this female that's lurking about her territory. And I hope she does do that, because it would be safer for her not to be here than for her to hang around. Oh yeah, they are very full.
Yeah, they were very, very hungry last night. Well, Sinead, that is a very good question. Sinead would like to know what we think might have happened if the lions had chased all three leopards into the same tree.
I think that tree is big enough for them all to be comfortable.
But it would have been interesting now.
Certainly would.
I think would they have fought? Would the females have fought while in the same tree? Would they have been more worried about self-preservation? Because if they had been fighting in that tree, that noise would have definitely, even though lions have moved away now, would have attracted them back in.
Exactly.
I think so. Very interesting. And Sinead, I don't think there isn't a correct answer unless we're actually there when it happens.
Exactly. I think the size of the tree would make a big difference, because obviously
Yes.
it would confine the anger and aggression and excitement if they were in a small tree. But that is a beautiful big ebony tree with lots of branches for everyone. But like Brent says, there's only one way to know how a situation like that may unfold, and that is to be there and to see it.
Oh, nice big belly. Happy lion. Marianne would like to know whether Scott and myself have ever seen all of the big five in one place. Scott's just busy for a second. I'll answer first. Marianne, I've been very lucky. I've actually seen all of the big five in one place on, I think 3 or 4 different occasions. The first time I was very young though. I must have been about 7 or 8 years old. Or maybe a bit older than that. And then I have seen it in the Sabi Sands on a couple of occasions as well. And Scott?
Sorry, we just stopped there temporarily. I thought I heard lions calling in the distance, but I wasn't certain if it was, so I just motioned to Brent that I thought I heard something. But I have never seen the big five together, so Brent's been lucky to have seen it 3 or 4 times. I have seen sometimes 3 or 4 of them together, kind of similar to this evening, but never all 5.
Okay guys, it's getting quite late and we've got to wake up quite early in the morning, so Vim, I think we'll take 5 more questions before we call it an evening. Okay guys, we're going to head back to the leopards, fat, lazy lions, and we'll spend the last few minutes with the leopards. Good evening, Marco from New Jersey. Marco would like to know if any of us have seen a cheetah or a leopard intimidate a lion. He saw it on Nat Geo. And wonders if we've either seen that program or if we've actually seen it in the wild. Margo, I haven't seen that program, and I've actually never even heard of. Actually, I lie. I've heard of a male leopard once, but I don't know much about the story. Intimidating a single lioness, but I've never personally seen it or heard of it.
It's the same for me. I also haven't heard of a scenario like that, and it certainly is possible. There's nothing to say that it's not possible, but it would be a very, very rare occurrence for a leopard to stand up to even a single lion, or lioness for that matter.
And a cheetah
even less.
Yeah,
cheetah will usually run, as far as I've seen, but then again I haven't seen too many. No, it will be very interesting to see what goes on here, but at the moment it doesn't seem like these leopards are going anywhere, and like Brent says, we've got to get up early in the morning, and it may also make sense that if these leopards did come down from the tree, that we wouldn't be able to follow them anyway, because by us following them, we would muffle the noise or the approach of the lion that may potentially be re-attracted to this area. So even if they did get active, we wouldn't be able to stick around, or wouldn't want to stick around, in case anything nasty did unfold. We would hate to contribute in any way to anything happening.
Mark, come on.
Well, what an evening it's been, and we must all say a huge, huge thank you to VM in the final control room, because without his skills this afternoon, none of us would have seen anything. Earlier on drive, we literally had cables melting,
smoke billowing out
of this vehicle. and VM took one look at it and said, don't worry, we can have this vehicle up and running in an hour.
And it was in just under an hour he had it done.
Exactly. And also to Jason, who was his right-hand man, getting that job done.
Obviously Scott and I just sat around talking nonsense.
We were planning the next the next part of the drive.
Can you go again with that question, sorry? So this is the second last question. We'll take one more after this. Shirley in Canada would like to know whether we would whether lions would kill leopards as area, so as a threat that might kill cubs that have been left in a drainage or whatnot, or as a threat. Yeah, mostly as a threat to cubs. I think was probably the biggest threat from a lion's, from a leopard point of view.
And also on top of that, it's not only a threat to their cubs, but it's also a threat to their food supply. The less predators there are,
we're the only station now, make your way,
the more food would be available for the lion or the leopard. So it's a direct competition. Occasionally, and most often in textbooks, it will say that predators will not feed on other predators that they've killed, but that is not the case, and it does depend on the individual scenario. I've seen lions feeding on leopard, lions feeding on other lions that they've killed. I've even seen a female leopard eating her own cub that was killed by another male leopard. So some interesting things do happen out here, and it often proves the textbooks wrong.
One thing we gotta remember, we're the ones that wrote the textbooks, not them. They don't have to listen to the textbook.
Exactly.
Okay, VM, could you send us through our last question, please? And the last question is from, hang on one second, I gotta unclip my clips. It's difficult for tall people to move around in this forecast. The last question is from Nancy in Florida. And Nancy would like to know if a female leopard is able to raise her cub into adulthood, when will she mate again?
So it's usually around 18 months to 2 years that they will start to push off cubs, be it male or female. They'll start to be less tolerant of them and actually have a few fights and snarling matches with their own young. And it's not an immediate complete kick out of the house, you could say. They still tolerate them within their territory, but prefer them not to come and feed on their kills, because it's so important for that female to now nourish her babies that are going to be the next litter. Ovaries, yeah, for lack of better word, babies. So she does need to leave her cubs that she has raised up to the point that they require, and then focus on the next generation. So it's usually around 18 months to 2 years.
Sometimes it can be early, up to 12 months, but that's unusual. You could say 18 months to 2 years is a safe bet with leopards, when she'll start coming into estrus again and start looking to mate. Well, everyone, it has been quite an interesting Easter Sunday.
It certainly has.
A lot of tracking and a lot of non-success this morning.
But it's paid off.
It has paid off.
paid off.
Yes, I'm quite glad we actually got to see them again after the amount of time I was fiddling around in thickets this morning. But from all of us here at Wild Earth, from Romeo and Nikki, who's sitting behind us, and VM in FC, thank you very, very much. It's been a wonderful Easter Sunday. I've had an absolutely fantastic time, and I can't wait to get up in the morning to do it all again.
Yep. Until then, have a good morning or afternoon, depending on where you are. And again, one final big thank you to VM for fixing this problem.
The rock star.
Because without him, none of us would have been able to witness this incredible event. And we must all be grateful that we did, because it was
True.
one to remember.
Very, very true.
Anyway.
Adios.